Let's go now to Mary Kay Henry, president of the Services Employees International Union, also known, of course, as the SEIU. It's great to see you and welcome back to Bloomberg. There's one labor deal that I did not mention, and that was at UPS and the threat of a Teamsters strike. Mary Kay, I wonder if you see any of these other actions happening if it weren't the precedent set by the Teamsters and UPS earlier this year.
Yeah, I think the UPS drivers made it crystal clear that joining together in record numbers and making a demand on wages and safety protections for the amount of weight they had to lift and the heat conditions of this past summer helped raise the bar and inspire workers in the way you just reviewed, from Hollywood to the Big Three to the casinos in Vegas to the Kaiser Permanente workers that we represent that also achieved a historic agreement with that company, and to fast food workers who now are going to have a seat at the table in California, 500,000 going to $20 an hour in April, and being able to raise wage and benefit standards. I think we're seeing an unprecedented solidarity season from workers who have collective bargaining to workers who are organizing like at Starbucks and want to reach a first contract with these companies.
Well, you had a big win today when it comes to Kaiser workers. A new labor deal, sizable increases. This deal approved by 98.5% of union members who voted for this. And this is guaranteeing a 21% wage increase. So given the fact that you were closely following this and a part of this, do you expect more in not just the healthcare space, but really just across the board?
Yes, I think that workers are fired up and fed up. Essential workers especially led us through a pandemic, and they're using their collective power in their unions and in organizing and striking and demanding to become a part of a union to raise wages and protect themselves. The Kaiser workers were also concerned about their patients and chronic understaffing that they think this wage increase will help address, along with the employer commitment to do training and upgrading of incumbent workers in the system to help fill all the open positions.
So who's next? Now that you have this momentum, Sean Fain has been talking a big game about Tesla, or is it Starbucks, Mary Kay? Who's next?
We don't have to choose, Joe. All those workers are demonstrating and organizing. We want Starbucks workers to achieve a seat at the table with that corporation. We want airport service workers, who I was demonstrating with today at DCA from all over the country, to get written into the FAA reauthorization so workers who work for the most profitable airlines in the country can have a living wage and paid time off. Wheelchair attendants, baggage handlers, cabin cleaners, they've been written off for far too long, and we want Congress to hold the airlines accountable by writing them into the FAA reauthorization.
President Biden was asked today about the UAW going after and trying to unionize. Joe mentioned Tesla, but also Toyota, and the president said, quote, absolutely. Do you think President Biden has any way here in terms of why we had such a hot labor summer? And as Joe talked about, the cool deals of the fall. Did the president really put his thumb on the nail trying to say, because he's the most pro-labor union, it really had to do with the fact that wages are not keeping up with inflation?
Well, I think when the president of the United States goes to a picket line, it sends a message to every worker everywhere that the man with the most power in our nation and around the world is willing to stand with workers who want a fair shake with the employer that they sacrificed for during the bankruptcy, and we're trying to recover from the sacrifices they made. And he's also sending a message to Starbucks workers who are fighting to get a seat at the table and want to be able to collectively bargain like the UAW members just did. And so it is a source of inspiration to workers when the president of the United States understands that working people are still trying to make ends meet in this economy. 60% of American workers are living paycheck to paycheck. 40% can't afford a $400 emergency. And so it's important for workers to be able to use their collective power to be able to raise wages and create decent jobs in every sector of the economy.
So where do we go from here then as we head into fall, Mary Kay? The President of the United States is looking for endorsements. Does he deserve one from the UAW? Because we look back at voting data from the last election and you see a lot of rank and file members voting for Donald Trump.
Well, I think the UAW members are the ones that will decide that. I know that the members of SEIU by 80% voted for President Biden in 2020, and our service and care workers understand this is a president who sees them, who understands that the dignity of work is about more than just a paycheck. It's about having a voice on the job through the union. And so I expect that our members are going to be fired up to turn out and vote in record numbers in November of 24.
President of the SEIU, Service Employees International Union, President Mary Kay Henry, thank you so much for your time.